Welcome to Epic Conversations. I'm Diane, and we're here today with my very special guest and friend, Dr. Delron Shirley and his wife Peggy. And we are talking about their book called Your Home Can Survive the 21st Century. It's about marriage. Peggy and Delron have been married for 40 years. They've been in ministry for 40 years. They also teach at Charis Bible College, and they've traveled all over the world. They have their own ministry called Teach All Nations, and we'll upload all this when we do the video. So today, if you've been listening to previous messages, we were talking about the spirit, the soul, and the body, and we're going to talk today about the soul, which is the mind, will, and emotions. We're going to get into the different personalities between a husband and wife. And if you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe to the channel and share it with a friend. Okay, Delron, Peggy, we're going to talk about our personality differences.
Yeah.
So,
You know, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but somehow we have to learn how to live together on Earth, you know?
Oh.
So, what we want to share on this particular session is about the disc personality.
Okay.
And you don't need to pull that up quite yet, but I'll
Okay.
get to it in just a second.
We
But
have a
thank you
little
so much.
chart.
We have a chart. It's going to help us understand a lot. Let me give you a little bit of background.
Okay.
I am a very organized person. Peggy is a very disorganized person.
Now, be kind.
She's getting
I'm
bad,
not
right?
quite as organized as you are,
Yeah.
but I organize my own way.
Yeah, and she's already mentioned, you know, that I'm always 5 minutes early and she's always 5 minutes late, you know, and that is kind of a shortened version. I would say it's more like 10 minutes, but at any rate.
Uh-oh.
But, you know, we're very different. You know, in fact, that's the reason that we always speak of the opposite sex. You know, we're not just the different sex, we're the opposite sex.
That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
And until you learn how to work together with those differences, life can be really, really tough. And I was on the school board of our Christian school, and because being a board member, I was invited to go to all the different kinds of training conferences and things the teachers go through. So I was at one of these training conferences, and the guest speaker that was teaching was teaching about how to deal with different personalities in the classroom.
Oh, that's good.
And so he started out talking about something that was totally unrelated to school. And he was saying, you know, suppose that you're out raking the leaves and you have a big job, you got to finish it that day, and your neighbor shows up and the neighbor is wanting to chit-chat and talk and distract you. And you know, so you're dealing with, you know, internally I need to get this job done, but I got to be polite to my neighbor who's chatting. And so he says, so what do? He says, well, finally you just go in the garage, you get a second rake, and you say, well, since you're here, why don't you help? And you know, that's got nothing to do at all with school. I don't know how he came up with that illustration in the particular situation he was in. But it really caught me because that's exactly the situation that I faced every October. Because we lived in northern Indiana where that you get a lot of rain and then the snow comes early. And we lived in a little lot that was actually carved out of the forest, had trees all around us, tons of trees and tons of leaves. And short October, you know, because if you get a snow or you get a rain, and the only day I had to do it was Saturdays because I worked every day, and then Sunday was church and all. So you got 4 chances, and if it rains or snows on a couple of them, then you know the leaves are gonna sit there until next spring. So anyway, so I was always every Saturday. That's all I did all day long. from as soon as it got daylight to it got too dark to see, raking leaves.
Oh.
I was always, why doesn't she, as my wife, my helpmate, the Bible calls her, get out here and help me with this? But I would walk back and forth as I'm hauling bags out, and I would see her through the kitchen window, drinking tea, talking on the phone, and it would really upset me. Well, hearing this guy talk about, hey, raking leaves, I said, man, he's something, maybe he's going to say something that's going to help me. And it really did, because he began to talk about the 4 different personality groups. And if we understand what the other person's personality is, then we know how to relate to that person. And he did bring it into the classroom, but I took that and began to relate it to marriage.
Awesome.
And in fact, we taught seminars in a number of different places, and one of the places that we were at was in the Detroit area. And after the session, one of the men who was in the session came up to me, and he said, "Let me tell you who I am." And he was the personnel manager for one of the big 4 automobile manufacturers in Detroit. And he said, "I have thousands of employees that I manage, and I manage them exactly according to this program that you just shared today, except I've always done it for manipulation. Knowing their personalities, what can I get out of them to make my company better?" And he said, "I have heard today that you can take that same information and not use it for manipulation, but use it for edification."
Edification,
Yeah.
yes.
How can I have a better relationship? How can I better my partner through these 4 aspects of understanding personality? So that's what we want to share.
Oh, that's awesome.
And this is from a Christian point of view. So
Yes,
let me
yes.
defend myself on the leaves. Okay, so we were pastors, and I am, you'll see what personality I am. I won't take long to figure it out. So I felt totally justified in what I'm doing. And how can he's a Christian. The leaves are more important than me talking on the phone with someone that may be suicidal and all that. So we had this big clash. And then when you're Christians, it's a bigger clash. And then when you're in the ministry, it's a bigger clash. And there's no one to settle it. But when we got a hold of this information, I felt it was God said. And we've taught this for years. And you could see the personalities go, yes. But the whole point is, because remember, we tend to be critical if you're not like me. So now I understand him. He'll explain there's task-oriented, there's people-oriented. And guess what I am? And guess what he is? Very task and very people. So there's a clash there. But now I understand him. Peggy, get off that phone and get going. See, and then he'll go, quit being so critical of Peggy. She's ministering, but give me that wind-up sign. So now we're blending our personalities. And he's not thinking I'm just being lazy. If people are everything to me, work is everything to him.
Wow.
So now maybe we can look at that chart.
Okay. So here we go.
Okay. If you were to take the entire human population and divide it into quadrants, if we go horizontally, people are either outgoing or they're reserved. If you were to go vertically, people are either task-oriented or they're people-oriented. And so when you see this pie division here, the first corner over here is task-oriented and also outgoing. That's a D personality. Now, these 4 personalities, we've known about them since the time of the Greeks. And the Greeks call them sanguine and phlegmatic and all that. Who in the world can remember what a sanguine is? And who in the world can figure out what a phlegmatic is? Okay, but it's the same information. It's just that it's been packaged in a more understandable approach. Because the D personality, he's task-oriented and he's outgoing, and every characteristic about his personality starts with the letter D. He's domineering, he's demanding, he can be a dictator, he's decisive, he's directive, because he's very outgoing. He doesn't matter who he has to talk to, he just jumps in and does it. And he's very task-oriented. I worked for many years with a very high D personality, a man named Dr. Lester Sumrall. If he wanted to have a C-130 airplane, which was a military classified plane, but he felt like God wanted him to have that for his ministry, for taking food to people in starving nations. So when they say, no, that's a military grade plane, it's not for civilian use, he says, well, bless God, I'm going to get one. And bless God, he got one, because he was very outgoing. I don't care if I have to talk to the Vice President of the United States, I'm getting that airplane. And so he was outgoing, he was task-oriented, and he got it done. He was decisive, he was direct, he was demanding, and he was a D personality. Okay? Now, across here, we have people-oriented and we have outgoing. And Peggy wants to talk about that.
Okay, Peggy.
Well, I think with all of these, you're going to have a little bit. Now, for example, I didn't think I had any D in me. I'm not a Lester Sumrall, I'm not a... Oh, but when I was in charge of the women's retreat, he used to say to the boys, watch out, Mom's got a retreat coming this weekend. I would go into that gear and, all right, you get this done, we got to get that done. I'm picking you up in 5 minutes and you better not be... I had no idea. The D's are great, but of all the personalities, we can step on toes, we can be hard, we can be misunderstood, and we can be obnoxious sometimes. And I did not know that about myself. I excused myself. Well, of course, I've got a retreat. Everybody get going. So he pointed that out to me, and I went, why do you say that? Because it was true. So I caution the D's. I'm trying, what he's teaching me, we complement each other. He's very diplomatic. I'm not. It's like, get it done. Don't you? And I don't even know that I'm doing that, and I love the Lord, But now he'll say, Peggy, it wasn't what you said, it's how you said it. Be diplomatic. Would you mind moving that table? We've got to get that table out of here because we have 5 minutes. It means all the difference in the world. So I'm defending myself, but amen.
Yeah. Well, we actually, everybody actually has two personalities. You have your at-home personality and you have your at-work personality. And your at-home personality is who you are naturally. Your at-work personality is a second, I guess you would call it subsidiary personality that comes out to accomplish the things that you're going to do. So Peggy is an I.
Okay, we
she
need to move
has
along
the D personality
right.
as a
See
subset.
that? We need to move along here. Okay. Okay,
Well,
because
we can continue this too.
Okay.
well, we have a few more minutes. Basically, the I's are people oriented. We're very interested in people. We're interesting. We're the life of the party. We love to talk. However, with each of these, there's strengths and there's weaknesses. I need to hush and listen. It drives him crazy because I could just talk all the time and I interrupt. I'm not even aware, like the D, that I'm interrupting. So one thing that we've learned, men need respect. Well, Delron will tell you very clearly, you're not respecting me when you interrupt. And talkers, we interrupt each other. Now, if you're another I, we have a party. We don't even notice it. He's not an I. So I's are very, very positive people. It's a very good thing. But can you see how quiet he is? And he'll tell you what he is in the next segment.
Okay. Well, thank you. This is awesome. We're going to be continuing this disc, and we're excited that you're joining us. Again, all this is in much more detail in their book, Your Home Can Survive in the 21st Century. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, have an epic day in the Lord.